The vast darkness of space held no warning of what approached. Silent and swift, the crystalline ships of the stellar concordance moved through the outer reaches of Sol system, their hulls reflecting starlight in hypnotic patterns that would have mesmerized human observers had any been present to witness their arrival. Admiral Vexlor stood tall on the command deck of the mothership Inevitable Dominion, his obsidian skin catching the blue glow of holographic displays that surrounded his imposing figure in a semicircle of light, each screen showing different aspects of the small blue-green world that had captured the Concordance's interest. Primitive, the Admiral thought as he studied the readings before him, barely worth our attention. The senior science officer, Malthra, approached her translucent fingers, dancing across a data tablet as she compiled her initial assessment of Earth, the third planet from an unremarkable yellow star. "They still burn fossil fuels, Admiral," she reported, her voice like chiming crystal. "They fight among themselves over arbitrary borders, and they have only managed to place a few hundred satellites in their own orbit, hardly a species of note." Vexlor nodded agreement as he expanded a hologram showing human cities spread across the planet's surface like luminous webs. The Concordance had conquered over 300 worlds across 17 star systems, each one added to their vast empire through either diplomacy or force. Mostly the latter. Earth would be no different. "Deploy the observation probes," he commanded, standard protocol for preliminary assessment. Within moments, dozens of stealth probes smaller than insects and cloaked with technology beyond human comprehension streaked toward Earth, bypassing detection systems. With contemptuous ease, they scattered across the planet, embedding themselves in key locations: military installations, scientific facilities, government buildings, and population centers. The data began flowing back immediately, streaming into the Concordance systems for analysis. The aliens watched humans going about their daily lives, unaware of the eyes upon them, unaware that their fate was being decided by beings who viewed them as little more than curious animals. Yet something in the data caused Malthra to pause, her elongated fingers hovering over her console as her multifaceted eyes narrowed in concentration. "Admiral," she said, the curiosity evident in her tone, "I am noticing an anomaly in their technological development timeline." Vexlor moved to her station, examining the charts that now displayed the progression of human innovation. Compared to other species the Concordance had encountered, the line representing Earth showed an exponential curve, where others showed gradual slopes. From primitive combustion engines to rudimentary space travel in less than 2 centuries, she noted it took the Zentari 5 times as long to achieve similar advancement. "Interesting," Vexlor conceded, "but hardly concerning. They remained centuries behind our capabilities." The Admiral returned to his command chair, issuing orders to establish a hidden base on one of the gas giant's moons from which they could observe humanity more closely. Standard procedure dictated a thorough assessment before contact was initiated or conquest begun. Little did the mighty Concordance know that they had stumbled upon the one species in the galaxy that would defy all their predictions. The advanced aliens settled in to watch Earth, confident in their superiority, unaware that the primitives they so casually dismissed would soon force them to question everything they thought they knew about the universe and their place in it. 3 standard cycles passed as the Concordance observed Earth, gathering terabytes of data on human behavior, technology, military capabilities, and biological makeup. Admiral Vexlor grew increasingly impatient with the routine surveillance. "They are unexceptional," he declared during the command staff meeting. "Time to implement standard evaluation protocol." Science Director Malthra nodded, her luminescent skin pulsing with patterns that indicated agreement. She had already prepared the test that the Concordance applied to all potential subject species, a carefully calibrated challenge to gauge their response to crisis. "The Mars colony presents an ideal target," she suggested, displaying holographic schematics of the human settlement. 37 scientists living in connected transparent domes amid the rusty landscape of the red planet, isolated, vulnerable, perfect. The evaluation package was deployed that same cycle, a microscopic delivery system, disguised as an ordinary dust particle, carried on the Martian winds. It passed effortlessly through the settlement filters, introducing the engineered pathogen into the human habitat. The aliens settled back to observe what they assumed would be a quick and tragic end to humanity's first off-world attempt. Inside the Mars Microbiology Laboratory, Sofia Rodriguez peered through her electron microscope at a sample taken from the installation's air filters. Her dark eyes narrowed as she studied the unusual cellular structures on her display. "Miguel," she called to her assistant, "something is very wrong with this sample." The young researcher hurried over, studying the screen with growing concern. The metallic-edged cells displayed behavior unlike anything in their database of Martian microbiology. "This isn't natural," Rodriguez stated. "It looks engineered." Within hours, the entire Mars team was mobilized, working in their isolated laboratory to identify the mysterious pathogen that had already caused 3 colonists to develop high fevers and respiratory distress. The Concordance observation probes recorded every moment, transmitting data back to the mothership, where Admiral Vexlor watched with casual interest. "They will panic once they realize they have no cure," he predicted to his officers. "Then they will beg their Earth governments for rescue. And when no rescue is possible, they will die, showing us exactly how humans face extinction." But something unexpected happened. Instead of panic, Rodriguez and her team displayed methodical determination. They rapidly sequenced the pathogen genome, identified its attack mechanisms, and began working on countermeasures. The alien observers watched in growing unease as the Mars scientists demonstrated problem-solving skills that defied prediction. They did work in isolation, but rather collaborated, continuously sharing insights, building on each other's discoveries, challenging assumptions. Most surprising was Deborah Rodriguez herself, who made an intuitive leap that shocked even the Concordance xenobiologists. "The pathogen is designed for humans," she told her team, studying genetic markers. "It was created by something that doesn't fully understand our biology." Using this insight, the team harvested bacteria from ancient ice samples found deep beneath the Martian surface, modifying these native microorganisms to create a counteragent within 72 hours of initial infection. The Mars colonists had not only contained the outbreak, but developed an effective treatment. In the command center of the inevitable Dominion, Admiral Vexlor stared at the monitoring screens, his expression unreadable as Science Director Malthret delivered her report. "They adapted at unprecedented speed, sir," she said, her voice containing an unfamiliar note that might have been concern. "They solved a challenge that should have been beyond their capabilities." Even more disturbing, the humans had now enhanced their environmental shields and implemented new biological detection systems. Learning from the attack, they had grown stronger. "Schedule an emergency assessment," Vexlor ordered. "These humans require closer study." The Concordance War Council gathered in the crystalline chamber aboard the flagship, tension evident in the posture of every officer present. Admiral Vexlor paced before the holographic displays, his obsidian skin reflecting the blue glow of data streams. "The Mars test proved inconclusive," he stated. "We must implement a more significant challenge." Tactical Officer Zorek stepped forward, his angular frame casting long shadows across the polished floor. "A targeted strike against their communication infrastructure would be most effective," he suggested. "Humans rely heavily on their satellite network for global coordination." The plan was approved within moments, a precision strike using quantum disruptors designed to appear as equipment failure. The humans would believe their technology had simply malfunctioned, not suspect an external force. 3 days later, at precisely 300 UTC, the Concordance weapons activated invisible beams reaching across space to touch key satellites in Earth orbit. The effect was instantaneous and devastating. Global communications crashed, transportation systems faltered, financial networks went offline, power grids in 17 major cities experienced cascading failures. The aliens watched eagerly, expecting panic, social breakdown, perhaps even limited warfare, as nations accused each other of sabotage. This would demonstrate human frailty and provide valuable data on how easily they could be conquered. Instead, something remarkable happened. In an underground facility in Osaka, Japan, cybersecurity specialist Hiroshi Takeda stared at streams of code flowing across his monitors, analyzing the satellite failures. While most experts focused on hardware malfunctions, Takeda noticed patterns that defied random chance. "There is a signature here," he told his team, pulling up comparative analyses. "The failures exhibit quantum interference patterns too precise to be natural." Within hours, Takeda had connected with specialists across the globe using backup communication channels and emergency protocols that the Concordants had not anticipated. Amateur radio networks activated university servers, reconfigured into temporary communication hubs, private satellite systems repurposed to fill critical gaps. Most concerning to the watching aliens was how quickly rivals became allies, the Chinese government offering satellite capacity to American systems, European space agencies sharing classified technology. With nations they typically excluded, the global response demonstrated unexpected cohesion. In Washington, D.C., General Elena Kovacs convened a classified meeting with military and scientific leaders from 30 nations. Their conclusion was unanimous: the satellite failures were an attack rather than helping each other recover. They were now preparing a unified defense against an unknown adversary. Most alarming to Admiral Vexler was the speed with which Takeda and his international team of analysts traced the quantum signatures back toward their source, complex algorithms identifying patterns that should have been undetectable to human technology. They are actively searching for us, the Admiral realized with growing concern. These creatures are not following standard response patterns. Science Director Malthra reviewed the accumulating data, her multifaceted eyes widening. Sir, she reported, they have restored 60% of critical systems within 24 hours using methods we did not anticipate. They are adapting far more rapidly than our models predicted. The Concordants had tested hundreds of species over millennia, and none had ever turned a challenge into an opportunity with such efficiency. Humans were proving different in ways that defied calculation. Admiral Vexler made his decision. Prepare for direct contact, he ordered it. It is time these humans learned their place in the galactic order. None aboard the mighty warship recognized the gravity of their miscalculation or understood that their next action would trigger the very revelation they feared most, confirming that humans were truly unlike any species they had encountered before. Dawn broke over a tense Earth as military forces worldwide went to high alert, their commanders having received intelligence about an unknown threat. Space agencies redirected telescopes, while civilians remained blissfully unaware that humanity stood on the precipice of its greatest challenge. The Concordance flagship emerged from its hiding place behind Saturn, its massive form of abandoning stealth as it accelerated toward Earth. The 100-kilometer vessel dwarfed anything humans had ever constructed. Thousands of smaller craft swarmed around it, forming a terrifying armada against the blackness of space. Admiral Vexler stood proudly on his command deck as he prepared to address the primitive species that had shown such unexpected resilience. Broadcast on all frequencies, he ordered. Ensure every human device receives our message. Across Earth, screens flickered, televisions, computers, smartphones, billboards, all simultaneously displaying the same image: a towering alien figure with obsidian skin and eyes like burning coals. His voice translated into every human language simultaneously. Humanity, he announced, his tone imperious. You stand before the stellar concordance, kneel and serve or face eradication. To demonstrate their power, a single energy pulse fired from the flagship, streaking across space to vaporize the newly established Lunar Research Base 47. Humans obliterated in an instant, their deaths visible to amateur astronomers watching through telescopes. Global panic erupted as the reality of alien contact crashed upon humanity, not as the hopeful moment many had imagined, but as an existential threat. News networks broadcast continuous coverage as governments scrambled to respond. Civilians alternated between terror and rage, some rushing to stockpile supplies, others taking to streets in desperate prayer or defiance. In an underground bunker beneath Geneva, the United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session with military leaders and scientific advisors from every nation. General Elena Kovacs addressed the grim assembly, her expression resolute. They expect either our surrender or a futile frontal assault, she stated. We must give them neither. Hiroshi Takeda presented his analysis compiled from the satellite attack data. Their technology has predictable energy signatures. He explained, we can track their systems, even predict certain vulnerabilities. Dr. Rodriguez, now evacuated from Mars, shared biological data gathered from the pathogen indicating potential weaknesses in alien physiology. The combined intelligence presented a slim possibility not of victory, but of meaningful resistance. They have given Earth 48 hours to present terms of surrender, the deadline approaching with merciless certainty. While humanity faced impossible odds, General Kovacs proposed a daring strategy. 5 small vessels, seemingly primitive Earth ships, launched toward the Concordance fleet, their approach monitored by alien sensors with dismissive amusement. Admiral Vexlor actually laughed as he watched their approach. "They send toys against our Armada," he remarked to his officers. "Let them approach, so they may witness true power before they submit." The human vessels followed an unusual formation that confounded Concordance tactical systems, executing a maneuver their alien observers had calculated as mathematically impossible, a dimensional vector shift that Takeda had discovered through quantum analysis. Suddenly, the Earth ships were not where sensors predicted, bypassing the flagship defenses with precision that stunned the alien crew. Alarms blared across the massive vessel as the human ships delivered targeted electromagnetic pulses to critical systems designed specifically for frequencies identified during the satellite counterattack. Secondary systems failed, and cascading sequence energy fluctuations rippled through the flagship. "How is this possible?" Vexlor demanded as his command screens flickered. "They are primitives." The shocking truth began to dawn on the mighty Concordance. Their careful testing of humanity had provided humans with exactly the information needed to strike back. Emergency lighting bathed the Concordance war chamber in crimson hues as Admiral Vexlor faced his assembled commanders. The damage reports scrolling across multiple screens told a story none had expected to read: systems, compromised weapons, offline propulsion, damaged by primitive vessels that should have posed no threat. "How did they penetrate our defenses?" Vexlor demanded, his voice echoing against crystalline walls. Science Director Malthra stepped forward, her translucent fingers trembling slightly as she activated a holographic display showing neural mapping comparisons between Concordance brains and human ones. "Their cognitive architecture is fundamentally different," she explained. "While individually less powerful than our enhanced minds, human cognition features unusual redundancies and connection patterns." The alien leadership gathered closer, studying the rotating models with growing concern. "Most species evolve toward specialized neural efficiency," Malthra continued, "but humans maintained primitive connectivity pathways alongside advanced reasoning centers." The implication stunned the gathered officers. Humans did not think according to predictable algorithms. They made intuitive leaps that defied logical progression. Their thought patterns could not be modeled with standard equations. More concerning, Tactical Officer Zorex added, is their response to pressure. He displayed comparative stress response data from hundreds of conquered species alongside human readings. Most sentient life forms show diminished cognitive function under threat. He explained reduced creativity, increased predictability, but humans. The data was unmistakable. Under increasing pressure, human innovation accelerated rather than diminished. Stress hormones that impaired other species somehow enhanced human creativity, allowing cognitive shortcuts that produced unexpected solutions. The pressure that breaks other species somehow strengthens them, Malthra concluded, her voice containing a note of reluctant admiration. Meanwhile, on Earth, in a facility carved deep beneath Antarctic ice, Dr. Anthony Park led a team of scientists and engineers reverse engineering technology salvaged from damaged Concordance scout vessels, the frozen continent providing natural shielding against alien sensors. Their systems integrate quantum principles with biological components, Park explained to military observers as he connected captured power cells to modified Earth weaponry. Fascinating, General Kovacs remarked, watching energy flow through hybrid circuitry. Their tech is actually more advanced than ours in every area, Park continued. It's just different. They evolved along alternative technological pathways. What seemed like magic to humans days ago was rapidly becoming comprehensible as Earth scientists recognized that alien technology followed rules and limitations just as human technology did. Difference created vulnerability, and vulnerability created opportunity. In orbit, a human strike force that had damaged the Concordance flagship made emergency repairs preparing for another attack. Captain Maya Williams addressed her crew from the bridge of the prototype vessel Defiance. They expected us to cower. She told the assembled officers they expected submission because their models predicted it, but the Concordance made a critical error. They assumed technological superiority equals inevitable victory. Across Earth, humanity mobilized with unprecedented unity. Nations shared military resources, scientists collaborated openly, factories converted to produce hybrid weapons based on captured technology. The response defied all Concordance predictions. Aboard the flagship, Admiral Vexlor received the final analysis from his science division. These humans do not follow established evolutionary patterns. The report concluded they represent an anomaly that requires immediate full assessment. The Admiral made his decision. Deploy the Doomsday Fleet, he ordered. We must eliminate this threat before it spreads. What the mighty Concordance failed to understand was that their most devastating mistake had already been made. They had given humanity just enough time to adapt. The Concordance Doomsday Fleet emerged from hyperspace, 9 massive planet-killer vessels, arranging themselves in strategic formation surrounding Earth, their silhouettes blocking starlight, like artificial eclipses, each capable of reducing a world to molten rock. Admiral Vexlor watched from his command ship as final preparations were made for the assault. Before we cleanse this world, he announced, let them witness the fate of Defiance. The Concordance broadcast began playing simultaneously on all Earth communication systems, vivid holograms of other worlds they had reduced to asteroid fields, the message unmistakable: surrender or join the shattered planets. In the underground Geneva Command Center, General Kovacs watched the transmission, her expression grim yet determined as she turned to address the assembled world leaders. This is their final warning, she stated. They believe these images will break our resolve. Instead of panic, the horrific visions galvanize humanity with determination. Many species might have surrendered seeing such overwhelming force, but humans faced with extinction discovered their greatest strength: unity of purpose. Dr. Rodriguez, freshly arrived from the Mars colony, presented her latest breakthrough to the War Council. Their neural implants follow predictable patterns, she explained, displaying molecular models with synthesized organisms that target these specific structures. Commander Takeda added his contribution, a set of adaptive algorithms designed to penetrate the Concordance network once deployed. These two advances offered Earth a slim chance, but delivering them required a mission so dangerous it bordered on suicidal. Captain Maya Williams volunteered immediately. Her prototype ship Defiance, now upgraded with hybrid technology, stood the best chance of penetrating Concordance defenses. Impossible just means nobody has done it yet, Williams told her hand-picked crew as they prepared to launch their mission. Slip past the most advanced defensive grid in the galaxy, infiltrate the command ship, and deploy untested weapons against an enemy with overwhelming superiority. As the Defiance and 4 companion vessels launched under cover of a magnetic storm, Admiral Vexlor received the final attack authorization from Concordance High Command. Begin the bombardment, he ordered. Prepare planetary cleansing protocols. The alien fleet moved into final position, weapons charging with energies that could crack continents. The countdown to Earth's destruction commenced, while humanity placed its hopes on 5 small ships and their desperate crews. Through ingenuity and tactics no alien strategist could anticipate, Williams' team managed what should have been impossible: approaching the Concordance flagship through a sensor blind spot created by overlapping defensive fields. The humans had identified this vulnerability by analyzing energy patterns from previous encounters. As her ship docked with the massive alien vessel, Captain Williams led the boarding team personally. We have 15 minutes, she told her strike force, before their adaptive systems detect us. Dr. Rodriguez, biological agent, housed in specialized containers designed to connect with the Concordance neural network. Commander Takeda's algorithms programmed to spread through their systems. Once initial access was gained, the mission requiring perfect execution under impossible conditions. Deeper into the alien vessel, the human team moved, encountering increasingly sophisticated defenses, yet progressing through determination, improvisation, and courage qualities that the Concordants had fatally underestimated. When systems failed, the humans adapted. When team members fell, others continued, their minds united in single purpose. Against every probability calculation in the Concordance tactical database, the humans succeeded, deploying the biological agent directly into the flagship command network, the effect spreading instantly through neural connections, linking all Concordance vessels. Across the Doomsday Fleet, alien warriors collapsed as their neural implants malfunctioned. Planetary destruction weapons powered down ships drifted powerless in space, while Earth launched its counterattack with weapons the aliens never imagined humans could create. Across the disabled Concordance fleet, alien warriors witnessed something none had ever experienced. Defeat emergency systems flickered as the neural network virus spread through connected ships, rendering advanced weapons useless and sophisticated navigation systems inoperable. The mighty armada that had conquered countless worlds now drifted helplessly in Earth orbit. Admiral Vexler, one of few senior officers with manually controlled life support systems, watched in stunned disbelief as Earth vessels approached his command ship, their hybrid weapon systems glowing with energies his scientists had claimed humans could not possibly harness, yet the evidence burned bright against the darkness of space. The Admiral prepared for death, certain that the humans would show no mercy after witnessing the destruction of their lunar outpost. Perhaps they would destroy his vessel with all hands aboard, as the Concordants had done to so many others. When his command vessel was boarded, Vexlor stood proudly on the bridge awaiting execution. Instead, General Kovacs approached, flanked by Earth soldiers, her expression firm but not vengeful. "We offer terms," she stated, "surrender and cooperation in exchange for survival." The concept was alien to Concordance philosophy, which recognized only victory or annihilation, never compromise. Yet here stood these humans offering something beyond the binary options of conquest, their capacity for mercy as surprising as their capacity for resistance. Throughout the conquered territories of the stellar Concordance, news spread rapidly. The undefeatable force had been defeated by a species from an unremarkable yellow star system, using technology they had developed in weeks rather than centuries. The shock reverberated across 1,000 worlds, many seeing hope for the first time in generations. In the weeks that followed, Admiral Vexlor, now held in a secure facility on Earth, underwent a profound realization as he observed humans up close. "Your species should have fractured under pressure," he told General Kovacs. "During a strategic debriefing, all our models predicted your collapse." Kovacs smiled grimly. "Your models missed something fundamental about us humans. Don't accept limitations, we see them as challenges to overcome." The Admiral contemplated this truth, which defied all Concordance understanding: a species that grew stronger through adversity, rather than weaker, that unified instead of splintered when facing extinction, that saw possibility where others saw only inevitable defeat. Throughout human history, Kovacs continued, we faced countless moments when survival seemed impossible, yet we adapted, persisted, and ultimately thrived. What Vexlor began to comprehend was that humans possessed something more valuable than advanced technology or overwhelming numbers: adaptability, coupled with determination, a combination that made them genuinely unstoppable. As Earth consolidated its victory, salvaging Concordance technology and establishing communication with other species subjugated by the alien empire, humanity made another choice that stunned Vexlor. They offered alliance rather than domination to the conquered worlds. The revelation reshaping galactic understanding spread like wildfire. Humans weren't simply another aggressive species seeking power. They represented something unprecedented, a force for change that could reimagine the very structures of interstellar civilization. Thousands of years of Concordance rule had established hierarchy as the only viable model for galactic order, but humans proposed something radical: cooperation between diverse species, each contributing unique perspectives and abilities. More shocking still, the proposal was working former enemies becoming allies, knowledge flowing freely, innovation accelerating as species collaboration produced technologies that neither could have created alone. Admiral Vexlor, watching this transformation unfold, finally understood the true nature of the threat humans had posed, not to life, but to limitation itself. They refused to accept the impossible as final, And in doing so, they transformed what was possible for everyone. 3 years after the failed invasion, Earth stood at the center of a transformed galaxy. Human vessels, equipped with enhanced versions of Concordance technology, established contact with dozens of formerly oppressed civilizations across 17 star systems, the rapid expansion defying all previous models of interstellar development. Admiral Vexlor, now serving as cultural liaison between species, walked the corridors of the United Nations Galactic Embassy in Geneva, his once intimidating presence now a symbol of unprecedented change as representatives from 7 star systems gathered in the central chamber. They approached challenges differently, he explained to the assembled delegates. Where we saw insurmountable obstacles, they see puzzles to solve. The former Concordance commander had witnessed firsthand how humans solved interstellar problems that had baffled his species for centuries, their cognitive flexibility, allowing solutions that rigid hierarchical thinking could never produce, their emotional intelligence creating bonds between vastly different species. Sofia Rodriguez now led the newly established Xenobiology Exchange, where researchers from across the galaxy shared scientific knowledge freely. Her Mars experience, having proven invaluable in understanding diverse biological systems, the concept of open information exchange was revolutionary in a galaxy where knowledge had always been hoarded as power. Captain Maya Williams commanded the first truly intergalactic exploration vessel, Unity, with a multispecies crew venturing beyond known space. Her leadership style, incorporating perspectives from each member, creating a whole greater than its parts, this collaborative approach generating discoveries at an unprecedented rate. Most remarkable to the watching galaxy was not human technology, but human philosophy, the refusal to accept impossible as final, the insistence that cooperation could replace domination, the belief that diversity strengthened rather than weakened collective effort. As Earth celebrated the 3rd anniversary of victory, ships from 30 allied worlds entered its atmosphere in a spectacular display of lights, vast crystalline vessels, alongside organic living ships and energy constructs representing civilizations that would have never interacted under Concordance rule. In the Geneva Assembly Hall, Admiral Vexlor delivered an address to human and alien representatives alike, his words transmitted across thousands of worlds. The moment we realized humans were unstoppable, he stated, his voice resonating through the chamber, "Was when you defeated our weapons, it was when we understood you possessed something no technology can replicate." The former commander paused, looking across the diverse gathering before continuing. "You possessed the ability to reimagine possibility itself. You didn't just survive our attack, you transformed it into the foundation for a better galaxy that is true power." As Vexlor concluded his speech, new reports arrived from distant sectors, former Concordance strongholds peacefully transitioning to the Alliance model, ancient conflicts resolving through human mediation, species long believed incompatible now collaborating on shared challenges. What had begun as a desperate defense against extinction had evolved into something more profound, a fundamental reshaping of galactic civilization, based not on conquest, but connection, not on dominance, but diversity. The shocking truth that had initially terrified the Concordance now inspired 1,000 worlds. Humans were indeed unstoppable, not because they could not be defeated in battle, but because they could not be limited by convention, their greatest strength laying not in weapons, but in wonder, not in power, but in possibility. As the celebration continued across Earth, General Kovacs stood beside Admiral Vexlor, watching ships dance through the evening sky. "They thought they were testing our weakness," he remarked, "but they were really discovering our strength." The Admiral nodded, understanding at last that the true revelation was never about humanity alone, but about the potential that existed within all species once freed from artificial limitations. Together they faced a future neither could have imagined, separately infinite in its possibility, unstoppable in its promise.